Hey folks, Charlie and Westeros here with my predictions for Season 8, Episode 2 of Game of Thrones. Before I get into those thoughts, however, I do have two things I need to say. First, I want to thank everyone who shared their thoughts following my Episode 1 review. In short, I am always really amazed by the incredible thoughts my fellow GOT fans have regarding the series, and equally amazed so many of you are still around to check out my videos despite my super long hiatus. The second thing I want to say is to announce that I have teamed up with the Thrones Amino app again this season in order to chat with you all right after each episode of Game of Thrones airs. In case you forgot or don't know, Thrones Amino is basically a social network app for the Game of Thrones fans where, along with chatting with me, you can also check up on some fan theories, participate in polls, challenges, as well as discover other great YouTubers and pretty much any and all GOT-related content imaginable. Pertinent to this YouTube video, however, is that I will leave one of my big predictions for Episode 2 on my Thrones Amino story, which I encourage you all to check out right after you finish watching this video. You can download the app by clicking the link in the description box below or by viewing my pinned YouTube comment in the comment section. The app is free, and once you download it, you can find me by searching my username on the app, Charlie in Westeros, just like my channel name. With that said, let's get into my predictions for Episode 2 by starting off with my thoughts on Cersei Lannister. So, I think the scenes involving King's Landing, if there are any, will be sparse. However, I think the drama that might plague the capital of Westeros will involve Cersei's love life. We've seen her once get together with Euron Greyjoy, but I also have a strong hunch something will happen between her and Harry Strickland, leader of the Gold Company. It might sound a bit random, but there are a couple of reasons motivating my suspicion as far as he's considered. For one thing, when he left Cersei's presence in Episode 1, his gaze lingered on the Queen, and even Euron looked at the commander as he walked out. The other reason why I think Cersei might strike up a liaison with Strickland is his appearance. His blonde hair, coupled with the look and design of his armor, makes him eerily similar in appearance to Season 1 Jaime Lannister. I don't think the casting choice for show Strickland was any coincidence either. In the books, Harry Strickland looks very different than in the show. As in the books, he is described as a portly, balding man, an image quite different than the one evoked by the show's actor. Show Strickland is basically everything Jaime was, and I think Cersei most certainly craves that. And so I think if Cersei and Harry Strickland initiate something, Episode 2 would be the perfect episode for that to happen. Moving things north now, I think a large part of the episode is going to focus largely on the other characters questioning Dany's potential to be a good ruler, especially Jon. This notion comes out in a number of ways from the preview. This becomes first obvious from her threats to Jaime, mentioning to him in the preview clip that, quote, "When I was a child, my brother would tell me a bedtime story about the man who murdered our father and all the things we would do to that man." Remember that in the first episode of the season, Dany says to Jon about Sansa that, quote, "I am the queen. If she can't respect me," and also if you couple the fact that Dany is already having trouble fitting in with Jon's Stark family, as well as her execution of Sam's father and brother, well, I think Jon just might back away from her this episode, or he will at least be forced to confront her about her actions and behavior. I also don't foresee Jon admitting to his true Targaryen origins to Dany right away either. I think the succession issue is something that, knowing Jon, he would rather leave till after his forces can hopefully defeat the White Walkers at Winterfell. Moreover, and given the impending arrival of the White Walkers, which will certainly occur by the end of Episode 2, I also don't foresee the issues between Jon and Daenerys being resolved right away. However, considering we see Sansa and Dany also chatting next episode, I do think the tension between them should cool at least somewhat. I think that if Sansa realized the extent to which Dany seems to love Jon, she might just come to accept the mother of dragons, especially considering Sansa was a girl who once dreamed of a fairy tale romance for herself. Now, going back to something else I mentioned, I realized Jaime arrived at Winterfell and came face to face with Bran at the end of the last episode, and we're all anticipating Bran to spill the beans about his fall from the tower at Jaime's hands, but something tells me he just might stay mum about it. Considering there are already enough reasons for the Men of the North to be pissed with Jaime, I really don't see Bran, despite his weirdness, feeling the need to add any heat to the Jaime fire. However, I do think it's something Jaime might have to admit to at some point before the end of the series. Another character who I think will reach Winterfell this episode is none other than Theon Greyjoy. There unfortunately isn't much to say here, but just like Jaime, I think this Greyjoy will face a similar, albeit less intense judgment than Jaime. With his conscience more clear, I think Theon will be fully prepared to pledge his support to fighting against the invading White Walkers. One role I could see him playing in redemption of his past crimes of invading and holding Winterfell hostage is in assisting the evacuation of the common folk from the area. I can't imagine Jon Snow or Sansa feeling comfortable keeping the common folk, who cannot assist in fighting, so close to the battle. And so my hunch is that Theon may propose they take the people west and flee by sea, especially if the battle goes awry, although that just might be something that happens later on, like in episode 3 or 4. The next thing I want to address is Arya shooting an arrow. Now, this immediately brought me back to Season 1, Episode 1, where in her first scene we see her shoot an arrow with amazing precision. Naturally, I think this is probably some part of the weapon Gendry crafted for her, but hearing her mention Faces of Death in the preview, I am now wondering if she isn't planning something major. That is to say, perhaps without us fully realizing it, she intends to kill Jaime Lannister in order to wear his face so that she may later kill Cersei herself. Now, I'm not saying that is precisely what will happen, as I don't think she would go through with the plan of killing Jaime, but I think it is clear that she is planning on killing someone, and I do think part of that plan involves assassinating Cersei. Now, it goes without saying that the White Walker should arrive at Winterfell by the end of the episode in the dark of night, and in true Game of Thrones cliffhanger fashion. That said, I do have one last bold prediction, as I mentioned, that you can find on the Thrones Amino app, so feel free to venture there now. Link is in the info box below, as well as in the comment section. For what it's worth, my last prediction involves one of Bran's visions. Anyway, I'd like to know what you think will go down in episode 2. Do you think I'm onto something, or just out to lunch? Let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I will leave things at that. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.